There we go. All right. Audio. Game on. Welcome to today's Q&A. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're talking about available positions here at Decker Truckline. So my name is Jessie, and again here with Decker Truckline to talk a little bit about what the orientation process looks like, what it takes to qualify for Decker here and to drive here at Decker, and the available positions that we have and the equipment that we're driving. So if you have questions, this is a Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section or the chat, and I'll roll up my sleeves and let's get started. All right. So it is already the 11th of February. We are live here just after noon in Central Time. So qualifying for Decker, what does it take? What are some disqualifying factors and all that stuff? So here we go. As far as tickets and moving violations, we can work with 2 tickets within the last 3 years. They would need to be, well, I don't want to say minor, because minor gives the impression that it doesn't count. But really, it cannot be a major moving violation. If you have a major moving violation within the last 3 years or 5 years in a commercial vehicle, then you would automatically be disqualified until it comes out of that 3 or 5 year range. As far as maybe a 5 over speeding ticket or a parking ticket or a lane violation ticket, those would all be considered okay within the last 3 years. You can have no more than 2 in the last 3 years. So if you had a lane violation, like wrong lane violation, not erratic lane change. That one is an erratic lane change would be considered a major moving violation, but a wrong lane would be okay within the last 3 years. And if you had a wrong lane and a 5 over speeding, we could work with that. So there you go. Hey Riley, how are you? It is cold in Montana. Yeah, he goes, how cold is it? It is. I think, well, I don't know what it is at this very moment. Let me check. It was -30 this morning, and vehicles did not want to run. I'm telling you, they were fighting it every minute. They started, but they didn't want to run. -7 right now. Yeah, burr. I'll just stay here where it's warm. Yeah, which makes a good reminder. Please make sure you're treating your fuel. You do not want to be stuck in no man's land in -29 or -7 degree weather because your truck isn't starting, your reefer unit will be gelled up as well, and of course if those are gelled up, then your APU unit is in need of some love, right? Yeah, Carl says wow. Yeah, it's a little cold. Hence the long sleeves and heater and just kidding. Yeah, not kidding, totally. It's there. All right, so qualifying tickets, moving violations, things like that we can work with. If you have, let's talk about major moving violations, because a lot of people are wondering about what's considered a major moving violation. These are not all inclusive, but they definitely count. So no erratic lane changes, or following too close, reckless, careless, using a handheld device while driving. Those are all major moving violations. A 15 over speeding ticket is a major moving violation. I know I'm missing some, but those are a handful. Of course, DUIs, DWIs, all those need to be a DWI at least 5 years old. You know, anything in a commercial vehicle like that would have to be at least 5 years old. Major moving violations, yeah. What else do I have for following too close is a big one. I think I mentioned that one. That one you definitely don't want on your record. Keep in mind, you're hauling 80,000, right? So if you're going down, you're 80,000 pounds, and you're on an area, maybe construction, or you're on icy roads, you need more time to stop. You're a big rig. You can't be following too close. And when it comes to usually if I bring that question or bring that comment up, sometimes people will ask me, well, what if, I'm knocking things over. What if someone cuts me off? Yes, I get that. We have lytic systems in our truck, which is one of the safety features. So it does include both inward and outward facing event recorders. If someone cut you off, that should be caught within the lytics video, because it would notify the unit, the safety unit, lytics. It would notify you that you're close to someone, and then it would show that they're pulling away, or it would show if you're keeping up speed with them, if you're accelerating. Now, if you're accelerating when they cut you off, who's at fault? But if you decelerate, if you let up on the fuel a little bit, the accelerator a little bit, then you're showing, and the truck is showing this as well, but you're showing that you are not the one at fault. So I guess keep that in mind when it comes to getting a citation for something like that. But yeah, following too close is definitely a major moving violation for us. Erratic lane change, just driving in the wrong lane is I shouldn't say fine, but we can work with that. It's the erratic part in front of lane violation that would cause you problems. And any mobile device, any handheld device would be at least a 3-year wait from that citation. And another question I get often is, hey, I don't have any tickets on my MVR. However, I do have a citation, or I have a warning on my CSA score. Am I good? Even warnings, and this is the hard part for a lot of people, even if it's a warning, it's showing up on your CSA. And whether it's a warning or not, it's on there. It doesn't usually specify that it's a warning. So insurance and anything like that, it's going to show. So it does count against you. And those are hard to get off. It's doable. So if it is falsely put on there, definitely reach out and work to get your safer stat up and clean. But it is a little bit harder to get off of there. All right. So other tickets, moving violations that we can work with: parking. Even incidents such as if you rear in. Well, let's see. If you rear-ended is usually a major moving violation, but it just depends on where you're at. If you're in a parking area, those are not usually major or preventable DOT recordable accidents. It's a DOT recordable accident that would disqualify you. So if you had a preventable DOT recordable in the last 3 years, then you would be disqualified until that comes off, or before that's the 3-year mark. At the 3-year mark. If you had a turning incident where maybe you clipped a mirror or something like that, those we can work with within the last few years. Now, I'm telling you what we can work with. However, I definitely think of Decker as more of an elite fleet where we're not searching out individuals with these. But I'm telling you, if you are a good driver and you just had maybe you did clip a mirror, maybe the you've got your blinker on and you're taking a wide right and someone tries to squeeze in there. I mean, things like that happen, right? So maybe you have an incident that isn't DOT recordable, and even though the rest of your driving record looks really good, we can work with little incidents like that. So I'm just trying to give a little bit of peace of mind, but a realistic picture of what we can and can't work with. So work history, that's another thing that comes up. If you've got 6 jobs in the last year, you're probably not going to be a good qualified or a good candidate for Decker, because we're looking for somebody with longevity. We're looking for somebody who demonstrates through their work history that they do what they can to make it work, that they're working with the company. And what I mean by that is trucking can be really hard, and it isn't for everybody. If you're new to the industry and you've already been with 4 companies and you have 9 months of experience, there's a good chance that trucking's just not for you. Now, on the other side, if you've been with a couple of companies, say 2 companies in the last 9 months, it's your first say, your first 9 months of experience, you've been with two companies, one for 6 months and the other one for just a few months. That doesn't necessarily disqualify you. However, we need to have a good talk on what is it that you're looking for. Is the out time doable? Because not everybody can be out a week or 2 to 3 weeks at a time, depending on availability. And you want to have those discussions before you even commit to a company, because you need to know what you're getting into, right? And as long as you're honest with, at least, and I can't speak on other companies, so obviously I'm only speaking on behalf of Decker here, but as long as you're honest with yourself and with the recruiter on what you can do for out time, they're going to let you know what we have available. Now, if you're saying, yeah, I can do 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, but you're on an 11 days out at a time and 3 days home at a time, and you're struggling because you can't, that home time isn't working out for you for your family, well, originally you had discussed that it was 2 to 3 was going to work. So, I mean, what I'm saying is that you need to really think about what works well for you. And if you're newer to the industry and have already recognized that you can only be out a week at a time, then those are the type of positions that you're looking for, and stay true to that. Don't start making exceptions because you want to get with a good company, but that's the only way in, because maybe they don't have, like with us right now, if you're looking for refrigerated, we don't currently have a home weekly. So if we tell you you're out 11 days at a time and then home for 3, if you can't stay out that long, that's an honest conversation that you have to have with yourself as well as the recruiter, but really with yourself as well, because you don't want to settle. If you know that it can't work for the family, don't put that on your record, that extra job on your work history. If it's not going to work out for you, it's going to be more of a struggle in the long run. We're looking for good fit for our positions and someone who would be, and vice versa, the position that we have to offer and what you're looking for. Now, for those of you who can be out 11 days, now I'm talking refrigerated right now. We're going to talk flatbed in a minute, which I do have weekly opportunities for home time. But for refrigerated, if you can't be out 11 days at a time and home for 3, if that doesn't work for your family, then we're probably not a good fit for you right now. That could change, because how many times have we have hired home weekly in the past? It just depends on where we're at and what we have currently available. Now, in other areas, we only have 2 weeks out, 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, and then home for 4 to 5 days. Great opportunity. You have an opportunity to work for a great company. You're getting weekly pay. You have a minimum pay safety net. Therefore, you have good benefits. So you've got, we can offer quite a bit to you, as long as you know that home time will work. And I'm kind of hitting on that right now because it's, to me, that's where I would see the biggest struggle with a lot of people, is that they're trying to settle for something that they know won't work. The whole like fitting a square into a round hole, or a square peg into a round hole, that's not going to work. And that's okay. You just need to find the position that will. And again, we've got great equipment. We've got, when it comes to home time, we try really hard to make sure that we stand true to that home time for you, and getting you home on time, and you're getting paid every Friday, direct deposit. You've got that minimum safety net, but of course, your rate of pay per mile and miles that you run, that's where you're going to be making better money. That's where you're going to be making the most, and that's our goal with it. So with refrigerated, we have, depending on where you're at, you have 2 options. If you live in the Midwest, within our hiring area in the Midwest, you can stay out 11 days and home for 3, or you can stay out for 2 to 3 weeks at a time and home for 4 to 5. Again, we do have that minimum pay, but your rate of pay per mile will be based on your experience level and, of course, the miles that you run. So, as for As far as flatbed goes, we do have home weekly opportunity, especially in the Midwest. So if you know that you need to have a home weekly driving position and you live in the Midwest, give us a call. By the way, this number that's coming across the screen, 877-433-2537, that's the telephone number to our recruiting department. Give them a call. They'll be able to tell you, yes, you're within the hiring area. No, you're not within the hiring area. This is what we've got. They'll be able to give you details. They'll also be able to run through your work history, your driving record with you. Make sure that yes, you do qualify, so that you know ahead of time. They'll get all the work done ahead of time for you. All right. So if you know that you need to be home weekly, and you're wanting to come aboard with Decker, then I highly suggest right now that flatbed is what you go into. So home weekly for flatbed, we hire, I'm trying to give like a visual here. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes, but just picture what I'm trying to draw a map here in your mind. We do hire in areas of Iowa, Iowa City down towards, if you cut across over to Indianapolis, on up to Columbus, north to Toledo, back on over to Chicago and north till Milwaukee. Where else? Over to Minneapolis area too, and then back down into Iowa towards Iowa City. Now everything in between there is within our Midwest flatbed home weekly hiring area. So yes, we've expanded it a little bit. I think Louisville, Kentucky is another area that we do have in that route. But that's home weekly. Now, we can't guarantee that you're home on the weekends, but with flatbed, it's pretty common to be coming home on a Friday night or a Saturday morning and then coming back out either Sunday night or early Monday morning. So that's pretty darn common for us. Again, I can't guarantee that you're home on the weekends, but that's what we're seeing most common in flatbed. It's a little different in refrigerated because refrigerated freight commonly runs on a Saturday or maybe early Sunday morning delivery. So it's a little bit different as flow, logistical flow for you. So what else can I tell you with this flatbed? This home weekly, it does have a minimum pay of $14.50, so a little bit higher minimum pay. There are a lot of shorter runs. So you are running, 4, sometimes 200, but usually 400 to 600 mile runs, and a lot of tarping and securing, but you got that minimum of $14.50. I think the average is actually right at $1,500 a week, or $1,550, but you've got that safety net, right? Now the qualifications for the minimum pay, miles are not part of it, but I can tell you, making yourself available for dispatch is very important, because whether or not miles is part of that, if you're making yourself available for dispatch as soon as your clock allows and that load allows, we're going to try and get you loaded and backloaded and moving right away. So making more than that $14.50, and this is the $14.50 example that I'm using, but really this is going to apply to whether you're over-the-road refrigerated or over-the-road flatbed or regional, whatever. Making yourself available as quickly as you can with your hours of service and delivering and picking up loads, that's obviously going to help you in maximizing your weekly paycheck. Okay, so back to the minimum pay requirements. Make yourself available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. Okay, that's minimum. And again, really have a good handle on your hours of service so that you're maximizing those hours, and availability. Okay, no late loads, no load refusals. That's another one for the minimum pay. No CSA violations for the week, and no preventable accidents for the week. And the last but not least, get your paperwork in by Tuesday night. Tuesday night gets you paid on Friday for direct deposit. So, and again, that's the direct deposit is usually you're going to notice Thursday what it's going to be first. It's in there first thing Friday morning usually. Whether it's the miles that you're paid miles or minimum pay, depending on what kind of miles you got for the week and everything. Do we haul a lot of meat? We do haul a lot of meat in the refrigerated division. Yes, a lot of chicken, a lot of pork, No swinging meat. Does anybody even do that anymore? I get asked that every once in a while. Yeah, but chicken, pork, yes, definitely a lot of meat. Um, yeah, what else? Those are the qualifications for the minimum pay. So pretty basic. I think I mentioned no preventable accidents, no CSA violations, nothing like that in the last. Well, it's week by week, so every week is a clean slate. So if you met minimum pay 1 week, but you didn't meet the requirements week 2, it's not going to affect week 3 at all. It's just the week 2 or that specific week that it's affecting. Yeah, and again, that goes for the minimum pay, whether you're refrigerated or flatbed. But the flatbed minimum pay is a little bit more. It's $14.50 a week for that home weekly flatbed. And again, that's up in areas of the upper Midwest for hiring. If you don't have flatbed experience, but you live in that area that I just kind of tried to give you a visual, then we can train you in flatbed. If you are a recent graduate of an approved school, then yes, once you've completed our orientation, we will train you. You'll go out with a trainer for 2 to 3 weeks. If you have experience, tractor trailer experience, but you don't have flatbed experience, then yes, definitely. As long as you have a minimum of 6 months of experience, you would go from your 3-day orientation into a flatbed tarping and securement training, and then you would go solo at that point. If you're looking to be part of our over-the-road flatbed division, we do require at least 6 months of flatbed specific experience or 1 year of tractor trailer experience. And then, like I said, we can train you for flatbed. That's for those of you who are looking for over-the-road flatbed or are only in an area that we hire over-the-road flatbed. Over-the-road refrigerated, like I said, to avoid going with a trainer, to qualify without having to go with a trainer, you need a minimum of 6 months of experience. And that's going to be really any of the divisions for that matter. Yeah. The only exception is over-the-road flatbed because you need to have a full year of tractor trailer before you go transition from like a refrigerated or van division into flatbed. Or 6 months specific flatbed experience. There you go. All right. I think I beat that one in pretty good. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. I'll answer them best that I can. And hopefully in a more direct, instead of a super long explanation, right? Well, you know me well enough. That's probably not going to happen. I'll go way into detail. All right, speaking of detail, let's talk about our amenities. The trucks are pretty sweet. They are very well maintained. They're newer model, first of all. And the brand new ones that we've got coming in, those have been the 589s and 579s. So they're newer model. What we have in these newer model Pete's that we didn't in the older models, and when I say older, I'm talking, like a 2022 or a 2023, 2021. I don't think you'll see anything older than that with us. But what you didn't have then in the Peterbilts, but you do have now in the newer model, is a 3.2 cubic foot refrigerator. So these refrigerators are bigger. Now, if you have a Volvo or a Freightliner with us, those do have the bigger refrigerators. They've had them. We are mostly Peterbilts by like 95, 96%. I always hesitate on that because I never remember if it's 96, 97 or 95, 96%. It's up there. Just say it. It's up there. We mostly are Peterbilts. We have a handful of Volvos that are 860s for the refrigerated side, 740s for the flatbed side, and then we have a couple Cascadia Evolutions as well. So we have a few of those also. But yes, the majority are Peterbilts. The brand new ones, the 589s, which I think are the ones that have been taking over for the 379s, those are 389s. Those have been given to or assigned to some of our veteran drivers, long-term Decker drivers who've been here over 15 years, and they've kind of got to spec them a little bit. Now with these 589s, they're a little bit roomier in the sleeper than the 389s, but still the 579s are going to be the more roomy, or the most roomiest. Quit making up words. I'm like that. I don't even know. Anyways, there's going to be more room in the 579s, just because it's just a bigger sleeper. They all have double bunks. They are all double bunk trucks, whether you're looking at refrigerators or whether you're looking at Peterbilts, Volvos, Freightliners, whether you're in flatbed or refrigerated, they're all double bunks. They are the Ultra Loft in the refrigerated side, and of course they're the flat top in the flatbed. So, yes. What else can I tell you for the equipment? Tons of amenities besides the refrigerator. Besides having a 3.2 cubic foot refrigerator, we have microwaves in the truck. We have 22-inch televisions in the truck. So they come with Epic View. Decker covers the Epic View, which is 100 plus channels. HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. There's like 100 some channels. Plus, you can also get local on those. And it also comes with free Wi-Fi streaming. So you have access to all of that through Decker. And what else? We have CB units in the truck. We have our Lytx safety unit. I think we talked just a little bit about that earlier. All of that is within the truck, along with an APU, an inverter. Obviously, you got to figure out a way to run those, and a bunk heater. So they're all well equipped. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. I think it covered all of the amenities. Well, we've got driveways, and we've got, when it comes to your tolls and scales and things like that, you're covered. We have for the TransFlow Geotab unit. So you've got the tablets in the truck. That's going to be your ELD, your communication to your driver leader. Maybe driver manager for some of you, but it's a driver leader is what we call them here. And they're there to support you. The communication will be through that unit. Also with your communication to safety, or your hours of service, of course. All of it's right here on that unit. And that'll be in the truck. You can also log on to a TransFlow app on your phone. It's a Decker TransFlow app, branded app, and so you can use that as well to communicate with your driver leader, especially if you're like on home time and you needed to let them know, maybe something came up or something and you needed to give them information. Or let them know, hey, I'm available, but you haven't logged into your truck yet. There, you got that too. Carl says, is it still only one truck wash a month? Good question. Maybe. No, let me get you. I got you. Carl, it is one truck wash a month out on the road during non-winter months. So how I probably should have ordered that is during the 5 winter months. Is it November, December, January, February, March? Yes. November, December, January, February, March. Those 5 months, we actually do 2 truck washes per month. So it's every 15 days. Now, that's out on the road, and we usually use Blue Beacon. That's out on the road. You get those approvals before you go in and get the truck wash. Now, anytime that you come to, say, Fort Dodge, if you come to one of the terminals, we have a truck wash there, you can get it done every day if you're at the terminal. You could do that. But out on the road, that's where the limit is. Two per month during those 5 winter months, and 1 every 30 days the rest of the year. So good question. Thank you for asking that. But yeah, anytime you're at the terminal, we've got the truck and trailer, we've got a flatbed trailer wash, we've truck and trailer wash, we've got a refrigerated truck and trailer wash, automatic. So yeah, you can get it done all the time whenever you're in Fort Dodge, which obviously there aren't a lot of you that are in, say, Fort Dodge every single week. Some of you, yes, but not most of you are not in it all the time. Carl says, that's cool. I like a clean truck. That's good. Hey, last week I don't know if you saw this, but last week we did a drawing for what we call our clean truck program or clean truck policy program. Anyways, so what that is a few years ago we had a large handful of professional drivers that actually reached out to us and said, "Hey, you know, I'm really proud of being part of Decker." They had noticed a couple of individuals that didn't live up to the standards that they wanted or felt that Decker was. So it's kind of a challenge that they presented, saying, "Hey, if let's have a policy on keeping the trucks clean on the interior as well as the exterior, because a lot of times it's everybody's like, oh, that's a sweet looking truck. All they see is the outside." But so that was implemented for the clean truck policies. So there are 4 levels. There's level 4, which is like, dang, that is like an immaculate truck. There's level 3 that's like, that's a pretty dang good looking truck. Like everything's real organized in there. Level 2 needs some work, and level 1 definitely you need to get to work before you get going. Those inspections, those clean truck policy or program inspections, those are done during A and B service. So we accepted the challenge of some of those professional drivers that brought that to our attention, and it was it was more of an individual thing that became this, and so yeah. Anyways, we have that, and anybody who earns a level 4, so it's again, remember the level 4 is like, dang, that is an immaculate truck. Then your name goes into a drawing at the end of the year, well, actually the beginning of the next year, and you get the opportunity at a $500 Visa gift card. So yes, Visa gift, $500. It's a sweet deal. Think of all the groceries you can get with a $500 Visa gift card. A lot. Not as much as, maybe 10 years ago, but it's still. So anyways, Derek Potter won our $500 gift card for 2024. We just did that drawing last week. So it was Rod Simon and Matt Lynch who did the drawing. Just in case you didn't know. But yeah, so Carl, it's nice to hear that a clean truck is a big deal to you, because yeah, definitely. And then we have people who, like John Hodges, he keeps his truck immaculate, and he will show off his process and give tips to how you do it, so it's nice. Mike says, hey Mike, how are you, by the way? He says they do have a reefer division at Carl. Yeah, yep, we do have a refrigerated division. The over-the-road refrigerated, the more regional, it's still 11 days out at a time, and you could go coast to coast in that one, even though most of it's going to be like Colorado east. But yeah, it's still an over-the-road refrigerated division. As far as refrigerated freight, we haul meat. I'm just making this list. I'm recognizing in my head that I know I'm going to leave so much out, not on purpose, obviously, but we haul a lot of meat. We haul beer and ice cream. Gotta love the ice cream. What I'm missing like a zillion things here, but we do haul a lot of refrigerated freight. That is our biggest division. Is our refrigerated division. Pharmaceutical. We do a lot. Yeah. You guys haul a lot of meat. Yes, if we haul meat. Yes. I love the. Yes, I did see that. Thank you. The one text went all haywire. Carl says, I'll be in the refrigerated division with the 3 days out or 11 days out, 3 days in. Cool. Are you already coming aboard? Do you have a orientation date already? Montfort Lane. Can you run in the Montfort Lane? Hang on. I'm looking here. Hang on, I lost my feed. There we go. Carl says yes. Okay. Mike says, can you run Decker truck line or trucks in the Montfort, the left lane? You can. I mean, you can't run it in the carpool lane, but you know you should be able to as long as if you're a passing. Yeah. But you can't stay in that lane, right? Am I using the right terminology there? Or do you have to have a certain speed? Is that what you're saying? Our trucks, by the way, they go 68 on the cruise, 65 on the pedal. Too young to know. Mike says Jesse is too young to know what the Montfort lane is. But it's the left lane, right? Like, it is the left lane, isn't it? Yeah, if it's before the 80s in trucking, it's before my time. In trucking, I'm not saying I'm younger. I mean, I'll claim being younger than that, but I'm not. Montfort feedlots had 100,000 cows. They bought a fleet of high horsepower trucks. Oh, that's where the saying came from? I didn't know that. They could run 80 miles an hour when the national speed limit was 55. Okay, so I know that the livestock trailers are, like the livestock drivers were always known for that reputation, high speeds. But I didn't know that that was why. Free hanging beef from Colorado to New York with teams nonstop. Dang, I didn't. I love your trivia though. Thank you. Mike's always here to make sure that I know what's going on in the world. Sometimes I get my current events from you. And some not so current events, well, Carl, it's cool that you're coming aboard. It's nice to have you coming aboard here. So let's talk about orientation. So now that we're kind of on that topic, orientation is 3 days long. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for an experienced driver. If you're a new student, for those of you who are new to Decker, or not new to Decker, but new to the industry, because obviously you all be new to Decker. But if you're new to the industry and are a recent graduate of an approved school, then it's a 5-day orientation versus a 3-day orientation. You're still paid the $500 for completing orientation. And let's talk about the orientation process. Like even before you get to Fort Dodge for orientation, which by the way, we'll get you a rental car or a flight depending on where you're coming in from. And we'll take care of gas, we'll take care of hotel and meals while you're here. But even before that, we have, oh man, all of a sudden, my streaming went errored. Okay, anyways, if you're still here with me and I'm not talking to myself, then awesome. I'm getting all these warnings that the streaming is buffering. But anyways, for orientation, it's 3 days long. Before you even get to orientation, you do need to do your physical and your drug test and the online orientation. So the online orientation is a series of modules. Some of the modules are videos followed by questions or quizzes. Some of them are images that have clickable links on them to, especially like when it comes to pre-trip. So those videos have, or those modules have images with the clickable links, making sure that you know how to do like a pre-trip, a thorough pre-trip. And then some of them are articles or text followed by questions or a quiz. So that's the online orientation. You need to complete that before you actually come to Fort Dodge for orientation, because if you don't, you're behind the time. you'll be delayed, and you don't want to be behind everybody coming into orientation. You also need to have your physical, and if you've got a physical that's good for another 6 months, and of course your physical you've had for at least 6 months, so it's it was 1 year, then we can usually use that one. You just need to get the long form into your recruiter so that they can get it signed off and approved on for that. Also, you'll need to do both the drug tests. We do both hair follicle and urinalysis, so those will need to be done ahead of time as well. Don't worry, we do schedule your physical and we do schedule your drug test for you. So all you need to do is go and show up to them and get them done. But we will go ahead and get the schedules, and they'll get the information over to us. So it's not something that you have to be responsible for after that. So yeah, awesome, right? Carl says you'd freeze up every once in a while, but audio is good. All right, as long as audio is good, that works for me. Mike says Montfort started a feedlot in the 30s, third generation business. Ended up building a packing house and only bought trucks to get beef delivered on time. Yeah, and if it's coming from Colorado, they are making a trip. You've got to move it for that quick turnaround, right? Hey, Sean, how are you? There was a diecast Montfort reefer for sale in limited quantities. That's cool. I love diecast trucks. I think they are so cool. We used to have an ornament, a Decker ornament that was a little diecast. They were so cool. We can't find them now. We've looked for a long time. The last several years we've looked for those, but yeah. Speaking of diecast, we have during our Driver of the Year awards, they get a glass diecast. Is it still considered a diecast if it's glass? But it is. They are so cool. They're beautiful. Yeah, but it's a Decker one, so obviously very, very cool. Anyways, orientation, 3 days long. After you've completed your online orientation, your physical, your drug tests, you show up, get you started. We do put you up in a hotel. We don't shack you up with anybody, so they are solo rooms. And then once you've completed orientation, and orientation, by the way, that consists of going over company policies and procedures and just more. You'll have more like in-person modules, basically, in addition to the online orientation. You'll have more in-person policies that you'll be going over, running the tablet, knowing how to use the GeoTab, who to communicate with, getting to know others within the company. So you'll have several directors coming in, introducing themselves. You'll meet with your driver leader, usually your driver recruiter first, and then your driver leader, and have the consistent conversation. There you go, from one person to the next, so everybody's all on the same page. You, recruiting, operations, directors, all safety, everybody, all in one spot. So yeah, you also meet with the maintenance department, which is, to me, invaluable. They are fantastic because they go through all of the amenities in the truck, how to run it. So if you, especially this time of year, you run into an issue with your APU or something, they'll be able to walk you through it. And you do get a workbook. I say workbook, but it's more of a manual that does offer troubleshooting tips if you are having an issue with your APU. Or there's a handful of, I'm using APU as an example, but with all the amenities that we have, and of course the trucks themselves, making sure that if you are out on your own and you have an issue, you can test a couple of things before having the maintenance come out. So, because sometimes it's not always. Carl says, after orientation, is it common for you to sit and wait on a trainer, or will they have one ready? So Carl, I don't expect you to sit and wait on a trainer. It might be like, hey, you've got a day because the trainer was delayed for some reason. But the way that we do it is that so it's good to know that you're going with a trainer. So you are not scheduled for orientation until we know that we're going to have a trainer available. So that's probably why you had to wait, because I do know that most people who had training, who have to go with a trainer, had to wait, some of them up to 6 weeks, because we had to schedule out, these people are going to be with trainees up until this time. And at this point, then they'll be available again for a new training. And so we don't sit and schedule trainees or inexperienced drivers until we know we're going to have a trainer available for you. Because sitting and waiting is just going to be frustrating. You're going to go stir crazy. But if, for some instance, say they were in Ohio and there was a snowstorm or something and they couldn't be on the road, maybe the roads were shut down or something, then we would pay you for your time while you're waiting for the trainer. But yeah, we don't expect you to be sitting there and waiting. You might get dispatched on Monday instead of Friday night, which that wouldn't surprise me. So we'd put you up in a hotel and stuff. But yeah. Oops, I missed a couple. Mike says, I need cataract surgery before my next DOT physical. Woo! Got my last one in July. My first DOT physical not performed by a doctor I met by plowing out of his driveway in the blizzard of 78 when I was 16 years old. Really? So you had the same doctor the whole time? Yeah, a lot of times it's the chiropractors that I see. Those are the ones who are DOT compliant with their to do physicals. Yep. It helped him back in the farm when he grew up in 22. That's so cool. Oh, dementia now? Yeah. Oh man, totaled 2 airplanes? Yeah, I don't think I'd run a fly with him. And it is a feat to have the medical to be able to do a DOT training, DOT physical. There we go. Yeah, several years ago they made it even harder on doctors. So a lot of the general practitioners don't do it anymore. That's why I see more of the chiropractors, I think. Anyways, yeah. So the orientation and Carl, yes, to answer your question, I don't expect you sitting there and waiting. We like to wait to schedule you until we know we have somebody available. It doesn't do anybody justice. It doesn't do any good for us to pay you for sitting there waiting when, obviously we wouldn't be making any money while you're sitting there waiting. You're not making any additional, you're not making what you could be if you were out on the road while you're sitting there. Yeah, all the way around. So to answer your question. All right. So yeah, the orientation, you get paid $500 for completing that. And then either going with a trainer. When you're with a trainer, you make $100 a day, which, equates to usually $700 a week while you're with them. And then after that, you'll have the minimum pay, depending on the division. You're in refrigerated, so you'll have a minimum pay of $1,000 a week. However, your rate of pay per mile, which you'll be starting at 52 cents a mile, you'll get a raise every 90 days that first year, and then it'll be annual raises after that. So then you'll be at 56 or something like that by the end of the first year. 55, 56. So then you'd be annual raises at that point. So, and again, 10 cents per mile is per diem. So for 52 cents a mile, and again, for those of you who are just coming in, the 52 cents a mile that I'm quoting is for a student, okay? Not for someone with experience. And 10 cents of that's per diem. So 42 cents is taxed and 10 cents is not. That's our per diem. So where is I going with that? Maybe I wasn't. Maybe that was it. Yeah. Oh, and then the rate of pay per mile. What your rate of pay per mile is and the miles that you run, you usually will exceed it. Now, with being at a lower rate because you're newer to the industry, obviously you're going to have to run more miles to exceed it than someone who has 20 years of experience, and they're at 70 cents a mile. Tanya is my recruiter. She is awesome. I'm telling her you said that. I'm sure that'll break her heart. Carl also said, good deal. I'm retired from the Army and getting bored sitting at my house. Okay, that's another point. For those of you who are those of you who are in the military, and if while in the military you were like a 88 Mike or something that was related to trucking, that was equivalent, comparable, yeah, then we'll get you an extra penny per mile if it's equivalent. Now, if you were maybe in communication and not in a trucking or not driving, then we wouldn't be able to get you that extra penny per mile for the military experience. But, that's based off of what your DD 214 says. Also, if you have more than 2 years of experience, we can get an extra 2 cents a mile for you. So, love it. Yes. And you'll also have to get the decal, right? So we have decals for your branch of government, so it'll be, or branch of service, so you'll have an Army decal that you can put on there. But just make sure that you bring your DD 214 so that, unless she already has it, so that we can get that decal for you once you go into your own truck. Cool. Cool. All right, you guys, it is 1 o'clock, right? Sometimes my clock isn't right. So it is 1 o'clock, and I have taken up probably enough of your time. But if you have more questions, do not hesitate to ask or give us a call. Again, 877-433-2537, and we'll be happy to answer them. Big old smile on our face. All right, you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I will see you next Monday on our Facebook Live or Tuesday here at noon Central. Monday is, should I bring my DD 214? Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely bring your DD 214. I just sent that to her. Yeah, bring your DD 214, and that way we can get that decal for you as soon as you are in your own truck. Get that ready for you. You're welcome. You betcha, you betcha. Mike says 2:01 Eastern Standard Time. All right, you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Stay safe and try to stay warm for all of you who are in the freezing weather like myself. All right, take care, you guys. Bye-bye.